Hi, fifth grade. We're going to be doing Module 2, Lesson 19 today, and we're going to finally start actually doing the standard algorithm for multiplication, or division, oh my gosh. So you're going to have 3 different problems today. The first one, you need to make sure you're following along with me on your piece of paper or on your desk, and then the next 2, you're going to try them on your own and then fix them. So these problems today are going to be in 3 different steps. Your first step is going to be estimating, just like we've been doing for the past 2 lessons. Then we're actually going to solve using that standard algorithm, and then we're going to check our answer to make sure that we are correct. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to get started with the first problem, which is 70 divided by 30. I'm always going to start with my estimate section, so if it helps you, make these 3 sections each time before you start the problem, and then you can get started on your work. And you might want to do that on your problem set as well, because you do need to do all 3 steps for me for this lesson. So for the first one, I have 70 divided by 30. Now in this problem, I need to estimate, so that means I need to round these 2 numbers to make it something that I can easily divide. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep this 30 the way it is, because if I look at this 3 and I think, what are the multiples of 3? I know that 3 times 2 is 6, and then I could just make this into a 60, and then it's easily divided by 30. So let's write that. So I have 60 divided by 30. And in this situation, again, since I have 1 0 on this side and 1 0 on this side, I can go ahead and cross that off. And then I just have 6 divided by 3 left, which is 2. So I know that whenever I do my standard algorithm, this problem should, or my answer should be close to the number 2. So let's go ahead and set up our standard algorithm. It's very important that your numbers are put in the correct space. Unlike multiplication, order really matters for division. So when I say 70 divided by 30, 70 will be inside the box, and then I'll have a 30 on the outside. So your problem should look just like mine. So I have 30, the box, and then 70. So let's get ready to start dividing. So since I have 30, and a lot of you are asking how to do 2-digit division. And what you need to make sure that you're doing is you're taking this whole number and trying to think, okay, can I put 30 into 7? No, I can't do that. Can I put 30 into 70? I could do that. And what you need to make sure you're not doing is you're not just taking one of these numbers, you're taking the entire thing right here. So how many times can 30 go into 70? Well, I know that my factors of 3 will give me 3 times 1 is 3, so that would be 30. Or 30 times 2 is 60. If I did 30 times 3, that's 90, and I know that's too much. So I'm going to stick with 30 times 2. Remember, you need to put the 2 in the correct spot, because if I put my 2 right here, I'm telling you that 30 goes into 7 2 times, which it definitely cannot. So your 2 needs to go up above that 0, because 30 goes into 70 2 times. It should all line up. Now, if you need to, write that little X off to the side, so you remember that you need to multiply these numbers. So I'm going to do 30 times 2, which is 60, and I'll write that answer right there. And now I need to subtract. So I have 70 minus 60, and I have 0 minus 0, which is 0, and 7 minus 6, which is 10. I'm not going to make you do like the decimals for this lesson, so you can actually keep your remainders for this lesson. So your final answer would be 2 remainder 10, and it's fine to have remainders for this lesson. So that's my final answer. When I check my answer, I first look at my estimate. I think, does this look okay? So I look at this and I see that my answer is 2 remainder 10, which means I have 10 left that can't be divided. But I have 2 and a 2 right there. So they're very close to each other, so I know my estimate is probably correct. And then when I need to check my answer, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to take, everything should eventually equal up to this number. So I'm going to do some math to show you that. I take this number right here, 30, and I'm going to take my answer, 2. So I'm going to do 30 times 2. So 30 times 2, and I know that equals 60. And then I'm going to add my remainder to that. So I'm going to take 60 plus my remainder, 60 plus 10, and that equals 70. Is this number right here matches this number right here, then you did it correctly. If you get something different, then you didn't do it correctly. So again, where I got those numbers from is I took this number here, this 30, and I took part of my answer, that 2, and I multiplied those. It's kind of just like how I did right there. So you take those two, you multiply them, and then you have to add this with the remainder. And we'll practice this a little bit more. But that would be your final answer. I checked it, everything checks out, so I can move on to the next problem now. So I'm going to write the problem up on the board for you, but please make sure you're keeping these 3 sections when you start doing this on your own. So your next problem is going to be 430 divided by 60. So go ahead and set this problem up on your desk or on your notebook and try solving it on your own. And then you can unpause the video and work along with me. All right. So 430 divided by 60, I'm going to estimate first. So I think what factors of 6 are close to 43? Well, I know that 6 times 7 is 42. So that's pretty much as close as I'm going to get. So I'm going to change this 430 to 420 divided by 60. I'm going to cross out these zeros, and then I'm going to do 42 divided by 6, which is 7. So I know my answer should be close to the number 7. Then I'm going to actually set up my standard algorithm. I'm going to move my check over just a little bit because I want to make sure I have room. But I have 430 divided by 60. So the first number always goes inside the box. The second number is always on the outside of the box. So remember, I take this whole number, 60, and I first think, can 60 go into 4? 60 can't go into 4. Can 60 go into 43? 60 can't go into 43. So then I have to think about, can 60 go into 430? Now, I know that 60 can go into 430 because I did some of the work over here already. Because I said that 60 times 7 is 420. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 7 up here because I know that that is as close as I'm going to get to 430. 6 times 7 is 42, or 60 times 7 is 420. If I were to do more, I would be way far over. I'd be at 490. So 60 times 7 is 420. And then I can go ahead and subtract. So 0 minus 0 is 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 minus 4 is 0. So my final answer is 7, remainder 10. So if you got that correct, then awesome job. But we still need to check our answer now. So I'm going to rewrite my check section over here. And remember, I'm going to take the numbers that are right here. So I'm going to take 60 and 7. I'm going to multiply them first to start checking my answer. 60 times 7 is 420. And then I need to do this 420. That means it is 420 plus my remainder, which is 10. So I have 420 plus 10, which equals 430. And this number matches this number right here. So I know I got my correct answer. We're done with this problem now, so let's move on to the next one. If you got this right, awesome job. Remember, if you need help, please make sure you're asking for help. So this next problem, again, is another problem I want you to try on your own and then fix it. So what you need to do is 572 divided by 90. And our first step is going to be to estimate. Make sure you pause the video, try this on your own, and then work along with me. So we have 572 divided by 90. Again, I'm going to take a look at this number, and I'm going to think, okay, what factors of 9 are close to 57? So I know that 9 times, I could do maybe 9 times 7, which is 63, so that's pretty close. Or I could try 9 times 6, which is 54. So I'm going to choose 9 times 6 because I think it's a little bit closer. So if I do 9 times 6, that's 54. So I'm going to change 572 into 540. And I'll divide that by 90. Again, I can cross off those zeros, and then I do 54 divided by 9, which is 6. So I know my answer is going to be close to 6, or it could be close to 7. It's going to be somewhere around there. Now I need to solve. Remember, the big number, or the first number, is the one that goes inside the box. And then the second factor is the number that goes outside the box. So I'll write it just like that. So you should have set up your problem like this. If you did it the other way, you would have a very, very difficult time. And then I go through this, I think, can 90 go into 5? No, it can't. Can 90 go into 57? No, it can't. And can 90 go into 572? Yes, it can. And remember, you already did some of the work. So I said that 90 times 6 is 540. 540 does not go over 572, so that number is perfect. If you were to try to do 9 times 7, you would get 63, and that's too far over, so I can't choose that number. So I'm going to put a 6 right here. You need to put that X right there, so you remember to multiply. 90 times 6 is 540. And then I can start subtracting. So I have 2 minus 0, which is 2, 7 minus 4, which is 3, and then 5 minus 5, which is 0. So I have 6 remainder 32 as my final answer. As you may have guessed or seen so far, a lot of our division isn't really too bad. I mostly just have one number that I need to figure out in one step. And since I don't have to worry about my remainder, these shouldn't be too difficult for you. Now we need to still check our answer. So remember, I'm going to take the number out here and part of my answer, and I'm going to multiply them. So I have 90 times 6, which equals 540. And then I need to add 540 plus my remainder of 32. So I have 540 plus 32. And I have 2 plus 0, so that'd be 2. 4 plus 3 is 7. And 5 plus nothing is 5. So my answer is 572. This number matches this number, so I know I got it correct. Remember, if you have any questions, please make sure you raise your hand and ask them. This shouldn't be too difficult compared to what we've been doing before in class, but if you have any questions, please ask. For your problem set today, you're doing number 1, A through F, and I would like to see all 3 of these steps. I know it might be a little boring because there's so many steps you have to do, but I want to see all of these steps so I know that you know how to do this. And then for your homework, it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing, number 1, A through F. If you need to do a small group, please make sure you ask. And good job today.